My boyfriend of almost 5 years cheated on me. I forgave him, hoping things would change, but he continued the affair behind my back. Eventually, I left him. Now I feel emotionally devastated and broken. I, 25F, loved no one on earth the way I loved this man, 27M. He was everything to me, and now there is a void. I lost almost 5 years of my life to utter devotion to him, and it seems like none of that mattered to him. He was my first love, kiss, relationship, everything. And I'm afraid he will be the only one, and that I will never be able to heal from what he did to me. I was 20 years old in 2020 when we first started dating. He's a bit over 2.5 years older than me, and now I'm 25. I broke up with him in July 2025, about 5 months after I found out he cheated, and initially stayed. I come from a background where arranged marriage is much more common than dating, and for that reason I kept the relationship under wraps. I guess he took advantage of that because he never introduced me to his family in the entire time we were together. We started dating long distance, though we were friendly in undergrad. He was interested in me for about a year before we started going out. I didn't know. He was very complimentary toward me and always showed that he cared about me. We had great chemistry. I loved talking to him and spending whatever moment I could get with him whenever he came back home. He acted very committed, talking about getting married and having a life together and children when we were ready and old enough. I enjoyed the first few years with him for the most part. There were some issues. I never really felt like he showed his true self, and where I am quite an emotionally expressive person, he rarely expressed his feelings. If I asked him how he felt, he would say what he was doing instead. We never spent breaks together, he was always traveling. He would be insensitive sometimes, but for the most part I still loved our relationship. Another girl entered the picture less than a year into the relationship. He was 23 at the time and she was 17. I only realized how young she had been when I looked her up the day after the breakup. I was still 20, this was 2021. It really bothered me how much he talked about her, how he was always liking her posts and photos on Twitter, and how they would talk on the phone. They lived and continued to live in separate continents, by the way. I don't know if he was already cheating, but it definitely bothered me at the time. I already had struggled with insecurity about my weight and appearance for my whole life, and the things he said about how cool she always looked sowed seeds of jealousy that would remain throughout the entire relationship. Come to find out in September 2021, by his own confession, that she had sent him a nude photo, but that he had shut it down and I didn't need to worry about her anymore. But one thing he said that I'll never be able to forget: it was really inappropriate, but she had a great body. Looking back, I don't know why I stayed. I just really believed that he had shut her down and was not interested. The next few years, as I said, went by all right, or so I tried to convince myself. Still didn't meet his family. He went back to school for a higher degree and deliberately kept me away from his friends there. I have a feeling he was up to funny business with other people there, or at least presenting himself a certain way, and didn't want me, A, to find out, and B, ruin his image. I would go over to his place once or twice a week, typically, but that was always too much for him. But I loved the moments we spent together, the snuggles, kisses, etc. After my grandmother died in July 2024 in a state of misery, a lot of it thanks to my own grandfather's infidelity and general personality and poor treatment, an 80-year-old relative told me never to marry a man who didn't deserve me. I came to realize over the next year that he did in fact not deserve me, nor does he deserve anyone else, not even the girl he cheated with. I start my PhD program in the fall of 2024. He's about halfway through his own program at this point. He nonstop brings up subjects that upset me and refuses to respect the fact that I want to maintain a consistent work and sleeping schedule. He is also at this point a hookah addict, surrounding himself with the sleaziest of bums every single night, which I think adversely affected his character. He books a flight to redacted country, which is not far from the country in which I grew up, along with some other nearby countries. He tells me he's meeting his cousin from another country there for the first time, and he won't be able to talk much. About a month after he comes back, I stumble upon a ticket booking confirmation on his email to redacted country, forwarded to the same girl who sent him a nude years prior. At this point, she is 21, he is about to turn 27, and I'm 25. He promises that she never came and that he's really glad she didn't, but he was feeling really unhappy in the relationship and didn't want to leave and hurt me. He starts saying that he's unhappy with my weight gain, he finds me boring and moody. His friends and family apparently all think he can do better than me. They make fun of my nose and my weight. The girl, he says, is more interesting to talk to and more his type. Skinny, light-skinned, I am naturally tan. She is also more conventionally attractive than I am. I have a bigger hooked nose, she has a smaller straight one. She has full lips and is slimmer. She has cool hair. She has edgy style. He wants me to change, to lose weight, to be more outgoing, to start cooking when I come visit him. I'm desperate not to lose him, so I say yes. I make him promise not to speak to her anymore. He refuses to block her, saying he wants to see me change first, but he promises he will stop. Another month goes by. I lose 15 pounds from not being able to eat or sleep. I become severely depressed and more suicidal than I've ever felt before. I know his Reddit, and I check it one day in late Feb. He commented his height, age, and educational status under a "R breeding for R" post with two lesbians asking to be impregnated by a sperm donor. This sends me into a frenzy and nonstop crying. Keep in mind, again, I'm in a demanding grad program. I feel too terrified to bring this up. Then, one day, while I am preparing steak for him, I find his camera, for which I gifted him a leather case for his birthday. 300 photos from his trip. The first 250 are touristy landscapes. The last are all of her. So he lied about not seeing her. I confront him indirectly because I am terrified. He finally confesses the next day. He apologizes for lying and says he was afraid of hurting me even more. In retrospect, why would you even cheat if you don't want to hurt me? Anyway, we decide to keep working things out. I continue to lose more weight. We go on a trip to another city where I meet his closest friends. On the way back, I develop an intense pain in my leg. Turned out to be DVT, and I'm sent to the ER a few days later when it becomes unbearable. While at the ER, I get upset at him for not checking my messages and not responding to my calls when I wrote that I was at the hospital. He had been asleep, he said, until noon. I argue with him over the phone. He said, "All you want to do is complain," and hangs up on me. Meanwhile, my friends and family are texting and calling me nonstop, some asking if I need them to be there. We never address the fight, but he picks me up from my apartment late that night, and I stay with him for a few days during the most painful part of the clot aftermath. In May, I am diagnosed with major depression, generalized anxiety disorder, and social anxiety. I go on antidepressants, and my mood improves. I continue to work hard at what changes he wanted me to make because I am seeing that he seems to be keeping his promises and actually sticking to his word. Things seem to be getting so much better. He's talking to me about marriage, kids, etc. But in June, I see a small sign on his phone while he is showing me an IG reel that she is still in the picture. And lo and behold, I get confirmation of this again in July when I find out he is still horribly DMing her on Instagram, calling her my love, telling her his friends in the city he and I had recently visited were really excited to meet her. Again, I met them when we went to visit them a few weeks after he had written that message to her. I leave him on the spot. The first month or so, I don't feel like I have any real hard feelings against him. His mother calls me and tries to make me feel better. He says he doesn't know what he would do without me. I'm like his best friend. The more time I've spent away from him, the more I realize that no one treats their best friend the way he did to me. And as for his mother, where the fuck was she when she knew he was cheating? Why didn't she ever make a real effort to meet me in all of those years? I feel like the stupidest idiot on the planet. I do not know what I did to deserve to be treated so badly. Did I deserve to be cheated on because I gained weight or was depressed? I still cry on a near daily basis, multiple times a day. And it's not even just about missing the crumbs of love he gave me. It's feeling so stupid. How can someone doing a PhD be so idiotic, such a buffoon, to stay with someone who doesn't treat them right? Why did I ignore the red flags? And I'm so scarred. I genuinely don't think I will ever be able to feel attractive again. He stopped being able to keep it up during sex after the cheating. I feel less lonely and worthless, yet at the same time have never felt less desirable in my life. He really broke me in a way I never thought possible. And the crazy thing is that he immediately started dating other women after I left him. I don't get it. Nothing mattered. I loved him so much, and I was worth less than a fruit fly to him. I really want to have a life partner, but I'm so afraid to trust, and I don't know if I will ever have the self-esteem needed to even put myself out there, let alone get into a healthy relationship. I still cry almost every day.